For a blue ocean strategy concept, I chose to take a look at Tesla and how they can navigate themselves away from the idea of electric cars causing anxiety for the average consumer and move themselves closer to traditional gas powered vehicle ownership in terms of reducing that driver anxiety, especially in regards to driving range. Um, the electric vehicle market has been growing and is projected to continue to grow. However, it's still a very small percentage of the overall vehicle market share in the United States, 1.2% in 2018. Although that number is projected to grow to 7.6% by 2026, one of the key problems companies like Tesla have faced is making drivers comfortable with the switch to electric. One of the biggest eyesores in regard to this comfortability is making charging stations for drivers on the go more accessible. Despite the fact that Tesla has over 1,400 supercharging stations in the United States alone, which you can see on the right there, they're all over the place, it's estimated that only a quarter of Americans are aware of charging stations that are on their normal driving routes, or if there's one that's even within driving range for them. Electric vehicles are obviously an alternative to gas-powered vehicles. For purposes of refueling, Tesla owners generally go to supercharge stations separate from gas stations that majority of vehicle owners refuel at. The fact that gas and electric vehicle owners refuel separately from one another only serves to heighten the fact that they're alternatives and very different from one another. Tesla has an opportunity to make this transition more seamless and appealing to the overall vehicle driving market by partnering with 7-Eleven to have a supercharge station at all their store locations, increasing the comfort level there for non-electric drivers. By doing so, Tesla would jump into the blue ocean strategy of making electric vehicles refueling as practical as gas station refueling is. Range anxiety is a primary fear for people, as you can see here, who have never owned an electric vehicle before. That anxiety seems to taper off and disappear after a few months of owning an electric vehicle. But in order to quell that initial anxiety from new purchasers, Tesla has to be different from the electric vehicle market. It has to be comfortable and convenient, and charging has to be made available where people are used to refueling. This is beneficial to Tesla, as gas-powered vehicle owners can see that if they were to make the switch to electric, charging their vehicles would be as simple as finding their closest 7-Eleven. And with 66,000 locations across the world and more than 12,000 in the US alone, 7-Eleven is the most well-known brand in the convenience and gas station market. Tesla has made an extensive supercharging network already, but the average consumer isn't aware of this. When the average consumer sees how easy and convenient it can be to refuel the electric vehicle by just going to a 7-Eleven, one of the major problems that the electric vehicle market now faces can be eliminated. The relationship also benefits 7-Eleven too. The average length of time that electric vehicle takes to charge to 50% is 20 minutes. 80% charge takes about 40 minutes, and a full charge can take up to over an hour. What this means for 7-Eleven is that an extended stay increases the likelihood of additional convenience store purchases from consumers. Tesla's already toyed with the idea of turning their supercharge stations into convenience stores. The fact of the matter, though, is that Tesla is an electric vehicle company, not a convenience store company. Running a convenience store poses additional problems with managing supply chain and inventory activities that are associated with convenience stores. Tesla is better positioned to stay with their core competencies of creating and supplying high-quality electric vehicles and charging stations, and outsourcing the convenience store activity to an already very recognizable brand in 7-Eleven. The blue ocean strategy for Tesla is really just means making the experience of owning an electric car as close to owning a gas vehicle as possible for the average consumer. The average consumer understands the benefits of going electric already, but they're oftentimes scared off just because it feels uncomfortable stepping out of their comfort zone. Gas-powered vehicles have worked for 100 years. Anyone with a driver's license has driven a gas-powered vehicle at some point. Asking the average consumer to switch to electric is asking them to step out of that comfort zone, and a certain percentage of the market simply won't do that. Putting charging stations in recognizable and familiar spaces like a 7-Eleven, places where people already pump their gas, like a 7-Eleven, makes that transition more comfortable. What's more, by putting charging stations in everyday places, the consumer base will become more comfortable and accepting of Tesla instead of thinking of electric vehicles as a niche market. If every time you pull into your 7-Eleven to fill up your tank, you saw a Tesla getting charged, you would eventually stop seeing them as some one off the wall luxury item and more of an accepted environmentally friendly choice for a vehicle. This has been one of the most difficult hurdles for Tesla to climb, making their vehicles seem normal to the average consumer. Allowing consumers to see them in everyday common positions, Tesla makes a move towards becoming that ordinary vehicle that makes their brand accessible to the average person. And there's few brands more comfortable to the American consumer than 7-Eleven for them to partner with.